So this is scenario 7. It's got a very odd setup. As you can see, the Russians are all, the Soviets are all over the place, and the Germans are here. Well, the Soviets are partisans, and they are set up by randomly pulling from your deck and looking at the hex to see where they set up. And then the Germans have to be, according to the rules, a contiguous line, but not in a hex. And the same hex as a Soviet unit, so hopefully they're going to set up here, take out this officer, and the rest of these guys are out in the open and not concentrated. A German player was looking for somewhere he can defend well, but also not be surrounded quickly and get taken out, like setting up in these areas where most of the Soviets are set up. So I just quickly thought put them here. So the axes are on a recon, so they get 5 cards. Allies get defend, so they're on 4. They start with 1 card. The allies, being partisans, are not quite all that good quality or orders. And the interesting thing is it's here. So 14 surrender mark for the Soviets and only 8 for the Germans. So Germans, if they start losing, they can crack pretty quickly. Losses for the Soviets are not as paramount. So that's going to make the game a little bit more intriguing. And the sudden death is pretty close at 5. So this is kind of a quick one. And so we'll see how it plays out. So after a few hands, things kind of moving slowly, Germans were able to take out that officer that was sitting up here. I'm having units hit here to try to take this objective, moving these guys up as a flanking. The Soviet player is pulling units in. Get on here, trying to maneuver people, but with only 1 officer up here, which is good because he can start coordinating fire, trying to cover this side, and slowly these guys can come on over. The interesting thing for the Germans, they were able to get a 150 millimeter artillery support came in on a card draw, so that will be interesting. And then the Soviets here tried to use their mortar, and for these guys here, and they rolled snake eyes, jammed it. So one of their pieces for heavy fire, as these guys are maneuvering around, broke. So that's kind of going to cause the Soviets a problem. Trying to get these guys up with their satchel charges might be good if the Germans try to move in for close assaults, or they'll use them. But the problem is these partisan units only have 3 movement factors, and trying to move through the forests are a bit pain in the butt. The other thing is trying to get the Soviet player to take the objectives so they have victory points at the end. hopefully they can get them in before the time track runs out, because if they have all the objectives and the Germans only have this one, pretty much they'll win it. So after quite a few hands, a lot of it was both sides were breaking and routing and trying to recover units that were broken. So a lot of units got ran off the board or shot and killed to advance, so the Russians are really losing units. The Germans were able to take this objective here, push in here, killed all these units that were here, took their hidden objective that was revealed, so the Soviet players trying to push in here, but they are now down just a few units and not looking good. The sudden death time thing is over, but I'm thinking yeah, even with the objectives, they're not going to win at all. Yeah, it's looking pretty grim for this. So it's so basically, to save some time, we're going to call it here. So this is because the Soviet player can't really do anything. Especially with, they can only play one order per hand. The Germans are running around just blasting them out of the way. I forgot one of the rules was when they captured mortar that they had broke, it's actually eliminated, but it got eliminated later, but didn't do any damage. Affected the play as we were doing it. Kind of weird for the routing, because it still has to go off to the side, so troops routing through each other's lines, because a couple of these guys got broke through events and were pushing through the German lines and kind of got them from one side of the board to the other, but through lucky card play, the German was able to basically snuff out the broken ones as they were coming through the woods when they had advance cards or fire. So this one's a little different from the usual because it's with the partisan idea. So on to the next one.